make a smoking pumpkin with dry ice and other easy dry ice experiments. Hello science lovers, this is Sophie the scientist. Last time we exploded pumpkins, but Halloween isn't over yet, and so today, we're going to make them smoke with dry ice. And there will be a lot of smoke, as you can already see. Plus, I'll share with you 2 other easy dry ice experiments that are considered classics. I love science, and I hope you will too after today's video. We have a few funny bloopers for this video because, well, this channel is all about making science fun as well as being educational. So be sure to check those out at the very end. Experiment 1. Make a smoking pumpkin with dry ice. First, we need a Halloween pumpkin. Here's the cute one that I carved out for this experiment. My bowl of dry ice and a clean, empty cup. Now, I use these tongs to carefully pick up my dry ice pellets. Notice the terrible noise. More on this later. For now, let's put 2 dry ice pellets into this cup. Then, I put the cup with the dry ice inside the pumpkin and make sure that it's stable. I don't want the glass inside the pumpkin to fall over because it holds the dry ice and keeps it separate from the inside of the pumpkin. Now, add just a small amount of warm water to the glass with the dry ice inside the pumpkin, and put the top of the pumpkin back on. After a few seconds, my pumpkin starts to smoke a bit. Now, I'm going to add even more water, and even more, and even more. Look at all that smoke after about 12 dry ice pellets and 2 minutes. It's also interesting that every time we opened the top of the pumpkin to put more dry ice in, smoke came out of the pumpkin's eyes, nose, and mouth. But when we closed the top of the pumpkin, smoke stopped coming out of the eyes and nose, and only came out of the mouth. This happens because carbon dioxide gas is heavier than air. When the lid of the pumpkin is closed, the carbon dioxide moves below the air in the pumpkin. But because the lid is closed, the air can't escape fast enough, and the CO2 traps air at the top, forming an air pocket below the lid of the pumpkin. So, the carbon dioxide can only escape at the bottom of the pumpkin, via the mouth. But if I open the lid, the carbon dioxide can push the lighter air out on top, and it can now move higher as well and escape via the nose and ears. And if enough carbon dioxide gas was produced, and the lid was open completely, we would see the smoke coming out from the pumpkin on the very top as well, as it would just push the air out completely. I'll show you this later. So I was very careful to add only a tiny bit of water each time, because the dry ice will start to sublimate as soon as it comes in contact with the water. Sublimation occurs when a solid turns directly to a vapor, or gas, without first becoming a liquid. Unlike normal ice, which does turn into a liquid first when you pour hot water onto it. The main reason for this is that dry ice is solid carbon dioxide, or frozen carbon dioxide as it's often called. Adding water to the dry ice warms up the dry ice and helps speed up the sublimation process, turning the solid carbon dioxide into a gas. And that gas is the smoke, or fog, that comes out of our pumpkin's eyes, nose, and other carved out parts. And if at some point the smoking pumpkin stops smoking, I can add additional dry ice or pour in some more warm water and our smoke comes back. Here's what happens when I add 1 pound of dry ice to each pumpkin and keep pouring water into them when so much carbon dioxide gas is produced and the lids are off. All the gas, or smoke, comes out from the top of the pumpkins as well as through the eyes, nose, and mouth. And yes, we did have to take this one outside for ventilation purposes. But that still leaves me with a lot of dry ice. So let me show you another dry ice experiment that's a favorite of mine. Experiment 2. Make a dry ice crystal ball bubble. You'll love this one because it's really cool. First, let's pour some dishwashing soap into this container here. Now, let's pour some water in as well and swirl things around a bit to get a soapy solution. Here's my faithful bowl of dry ice. I cut a long, thin strip off of this old towel and soaked it thoroughly in our soapy solution. Then, I put 1 pellet of dry ice into this second container and added some warm water to it to activate the gas. Now, let's take my soapy thin towel strip and stretch it across the rim of this dry ice filled container. And check this out as my dry ice crystal ball, or soap bubble, grows. Oh no, it popped! Let's try again. The second time is even better. We really do love this one, so let's go for a big one and try this now with my entire bowl of dry ice. So let's soak my long, thin towel strip in the soapy solution again. Now I'll pour warm water into this much bigger bowl of dry ice and quickly stretch this strip across the rim of this container like I did with the smaller one before. It took us 3 tries, but we got there in the end. Look at this, isn't it awesome? What I just did was create a soap film that stretched across the entire bowl. And as the dry ice sublimated, the soap film trapped the increasing gas in it, creating this smoky, fog-filled bubble that looks like a crystal ball. And yes, it is as easy as it looks. The next experiment now, that took us a bit more time. You can check out the bloopers at the very end if you want to laugh. Experiment 3, blow up a Halloween balloon. For this experiment, let's fill up an old plastic bottle about 3/4 of the way with warm water, and then add some food coloring to it. Red is one of my favorite colors in case you haven't noticed. And the food coloring in the water, it's not a must-have, but who doesn't like a bit of color, right? Now I'll add a little bit of crushed dry ice and stretch my orange balloon, because it is almost Halloween, across the mouth of the bottle. And we can see that the balloon starts to inflate almost instantaneously, as the dry ice sublimates or turns into gas. My balloon refused to stay standing up though. The Halloween balloon was a 12-inch balloon, so I was able to leave the balloon on the bottle until the dry ice sublimed away entirely. If I'd used the same amount of dry ice on a smaller balloon, the carbon dioxide would have overfilled it, and it would have popped. Bloopers. This isn't working, there's a hole. Let's try this with the glove. The finger. That's not good.
Wait.
Oh, oops. Oh, and remember this terrible noise from the beginning of the video? This is because when warm metal touches dry ice, it melts and starts the sublimation process. The emitted gas vibrates against the metal surface, and that's why we hear this unappealing, high-pitched, squealing sound. In a nutshell, the rapid fluctuations of movement from an escaping gas cause the metal to vibrate rapidly, producing the noise. Now, let's talk a bit more about where you can buy dry ice and some dry ice do's and don'ts. Buying and handling dry ice. In case you're wondering where we got all this dry ice from, well, I googled where to buy dry ice near me, and got back a long list of dry ice suppliers, from grocery stores to specialty ice stores. So it was relatively easy for me, at least in our area around a big city. A pound of dry ice cost us between $3 and $4. Be careful of any dry ice packs that you may find online at places like Amazon. Most of these are actually normal ice packs with water ice, and cannot be used to create the same effects as you saw in the experiments that I've shared with you today. Remember, you need frozen carbon dioxide. And always, always remember that dry ice is very, very cold. It has a surface temperature of about -109 degrees Fahrenheit, or approximately -79 degrees Celsius. In fact, dry ice played a vital role during the COVID-19 pandemic, because those vaccines had to be stored at temperatures way below zero. Dry ice was used to maintain the correct temperatures as the vaccines traveled across the country for distribution. Always handle dry ice very carefully, and never touch it with your bare hands. Always use gloves or tongs, or both as I did when handling dry ice. Direct contact with dry ice can cause severe frostbite. Now, carbon dioxide is not poisonous, and a natural part of our atmosphere where it plays an important role both in providing plants with the carbon they need to photosynthesize, and in helping regulate the temperature of Earth and our climate. That said, make sure you use dry ice only in a properly ventilated environment. If the concentration of carbon dioxide gets too high, it can have harmful effects, and in extreme cases, if it were to completely displace the breathable air, it can even asphyxiate. Good ventilation is also very important when you store dry ice, so that the carbon dioxide gas that's produced by the dry ice can escape properly. Any unused dry ice needs to be stored in a separate, well-ventilated cooler, and not in an airtight container, or even a closed fridge, as the sublimation of carbon dioxide can cause pressure to build up in the container to explode. And speaking about explosions, if you want to see how we exploded some pumpkins recently, then be sure to check out the video here on another one of our other favorite Halloween experiments. So tell me, which was your favorite dry ice experiment? The pumpkin, the crystal ball, or the balloon? And what else would you like to see next? Drop a comment below and let us know. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned something scientific today. See you again very soon with even more science fun and facts.